An unguarded hot mic moment in Beijing yesterday caught Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping musing about living to be 150 or even becoming immortal through organ transplants and biotech. The Russian and Chinese leaders were picked up discussing radical life extension as they walked on a red carpet in the Chinese capital. Now, both men are 72 years old. Putin suggested humans could grow younger by replacing failing organs, while Xi pointed to predictions of lifespans reaching 150 this century. But scientists say immortality remains far-fetched. Experts note that despite advances in health, no one has surpassed the 122-year record set in 1997. Joining me now is Aubrey. He's president and chief science officer of LEV Foundation. That's an organization dedicated to preventing and reversing age-related disease. He joins me from California. Mr. DeGray, it's good to have you on the program. What do you think? Xi Jinping says we could see someone living to be 150 this century. Do you share his optimism?
Oh, for sure. It's virtually certain that that will happen, I would say. The control of the decline that we see in old age at the moment may be as little as 12 to 15 years away from being achieved.
Wow.
We still have plenty to do. We still have plenty to do to get there, but progress is rapidly accelerating. We've seen far more progress against the health problems of late life in the laboratory in the past decade than we saw in the previous few decades. And translating that to the clinic can happen a lot faster than translation normally happens if and when humanity finally decides that aging is an actual medical problem that can be addressed.
Well, Mr. DeGray, what has to happen in these next 10 to 12 years, as you say? I mean, is it organ transplants like Vladimir Putin said?
Not really, no. Organ transplants may play a role, but most of the action is going to be at the microscopic level, the molecular and cellular level, removing molecular waste products from cells, for example, removing cells that have become toxic, replacing cells that have died and not been automatically replaced by cell division, that kind of thing.
How do you see that happening? Are we talking about an injection? Are we talking about a vaccine?
Most of it will be injections. Of course, vaccines are injections. Some of it may be pharmaceuticals that can be supplied orally, but mostly it will be injections.
What about Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping? They are 72 years old right now. So if you're correct, and we're talking about 150 as possible, then these men could just be hitting middle age.
Well, in fact, it's worse than that, so to speak, because once we have achieved a 20 or so year postponement of the health problems of late life, that will effectively have bought us time to figure out what to do next, to get the next 20 years and so on. And so I believe that once we have 20 years, essentially the hard part has been done, and people who are receiving state-of-the-art treatments at any point will never have any kind of age-related ill health. In other words, their health will not be a function of how long ago they were born.
Is this miraculous progress that you're speaking of, is it going to be expensive? I mean, if this is widely adopted or not, could we see a two-class society developing where the rich live longer, healthier lives, the poor do not?
There's absolutely no chance of that. We can see that just by looking at today's world, when obviously these treatments do not yet exist, and seeing how expensive it is to keep people alive in a poor state of health, even though we can't even do that for very long. We are spending the most insane amount on that, and therefore the sheer, simple, mercenary economic imperative will be to front-load the investment to ensure that everybody who is old enough to need these rejuvenation treatments will be able to access them, irrespective of ability to pay, because those treatments will pay for themselves at the national level many times over, very quickly indeed.
What about the numbers of people? The Earth is already having difficulty supporting the current population. Should we really be trying to double life expectancies while we're facing, limited resources and we're looking at our planet deteriorating before our very eyes?
Well, the first thing you have to remember is that the impact of having 8 billion people on the planet is not a question of not having enough space. It's a question of making too much pollution, whether it's pumping carbon into the atmosphere or making plastics that accumulate in the oceans or whatever. And of course, other researchers are working hand over fist to address those problems. So we can be absolutely sure that within the next couple of decades, way before there are any demographic consequences of bringing aging under medical control, the environmental impact of humanity will be diminishing. In other words, any kind of overpopulation problem will actually diminish over time.
Mr. DeGray, we're almost out of time, but I want to ask you, and I'm not trying, I'm trying to be impolite here, but can I ask you, how old are you and how old do you expect to live to be?
I'm 62, and I never think about how old I personally expect to be. I work in this field for humanitarian reasons. I'm interested in alleviating the suffering that's associated with late life. Remember that lifespan is not what this is about. Lifespan, increasing lifespan, is simply a side effect of keeping people healthy.
Okay. Aubrey DeGray with LEV Foundation. Mr. DeGray, we appreciate you taking the time to talk with us. We appreciate you sharing your optimistic view about the future for all of us. Thank you.
My pleasure.